Welcome to Motivated Results, ladies and gentlemen. So lately on the YouTube fitness community, there's been a big topic that's been going around, or at least I've seen at least 3 videos, both Brandon Campbell, Jerry from BioS 3, and what was the third one I saw? Yeah, I can't remember, but I'll post the links here somewhere. And it's been Dr. Oz and his recent legal problems with his practice and what's kind of going on with him. So since this is kind of in my wheelhouse in a way, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of education. That way when you're dealing with these professionals, you know kind of a little bit more about the background of them, and so that I can give you my thoughts on the situation. So I'm gonna set up tripod and everything so we can use this. And then we'll see you guys in a second. Alright, here we go. So, I don't think you guys will be able to read this, to be honest with you. So I'm going to kind of take hold of the camera and go over it. And I'm starting to realize I could have used a little bit, I could use the space a little bit better. But whatever. And my handwriting is not great. So, with all that being said and done, let's get started. I really don't think that's any better. Anyways, so here is an example of physician's employment. So here on this side you have a surgeon, and here you have a medical doctor. So what I ended up breaking it down to is the undergrad. So let's start with the surgeon, for example. What you end up having is a 4-year, give or take. Everything's approximate because it can vary. You could be a overachiever or underachiever, and you could take on additional programs. You can complete things a little bit earlier than others, special exceptions, whatever. But for the most part, most undergrads, it'll take you about 4 years, give or take. That's anything under the medical school degree. After you're done with that, that's approximately 4 years, you go on to do another 4 years of medical school. After that, you graduate, you probably pick by then you should probably be decided as to what you're going to be doing. Most people do before even getting into this world, but if you're a surgeon, more likely you're going to do a residency for about 6 years, give or take, depending on how in-depth a fellow, or what type of specialty you're in. So if you're going to be a neurosurgeon, which is a person that does surgery on the brain or the brain skull area, your fellowship might be a little bit more than this, but it could vary depending on the program as well. So afterwards, after you're done with that, you might have a fellowship, because this is usually a residency in general surgery. Then you're going to have a fellowship in more specialized departments. So if you're, once again, a neurosurgeon, your fellowship's probably going to be a little longer. And that can vary depending on the specialty again. Sometimes it's even more than 3 years. But I mean, I didn't want to add a huge ranges for you guys here. After that, you do start, you can look forward to employment and actually getting a decent paycheck. Sometimes you do find programs that do give residents and fellows pay, but it's nothing extensive. It is nothing like you're going to make if you are a full-on surgeon who's been practicing forever. So let's go to medicine. As far as medicine goes, what you're going to end up seeing is similar training in the beginning. Undergraduate 4 years, medical school 4 years. Afterwards, you're going to end up going to residency for about 3, give or take. I mean, you don't need the 6 years because you're not performing heavy-duty surgery. You're just doing basic medical testing and treatment. That's kind of the people you go to. For example, endocrinologists, you go to a pediatrician. All these people are medical doctors. While here it's very simple to know the difference as a surgeon. You're cutting people open. If you are a fellow, if you're going to be doing additional specialized training, like if you want to be an endocrinologist specifically or a pulmonologist specifically, you're going to be going to an additional fellowship. And that's an additional 2 to 3 years, give or take, and then you go to employment. Now, there's a big difference in training here, as you can see. I mean, of course, this is going to mean way more pay than this, but I mean, less training, give or take. So, Dr. Oz would have done something very similarly to this, and some of this stuff's pretty much public knowledge. If you have a physician that you go to regularly, you can always go to any of their medical licensing boards and look up a lot of stuff of them already. But that's besides the point. So this is just to give you guys a quick look. And so you might notice that I bracketed the undergrad and med school. Why? Because if you are going to be a physician, this is probably the only range for most people where you're going to have any diet and or nutrition training. or education. Education is probably more accurate. And so in reality, anything that you're going to do as far as nutrition is going to be learned. Anything you're going to learn as far as nutrition goes is going to be in these 4 years. 8 years, give or take. And keep in mind, unless this is your specialty, unless you're going to be a dietitian or a nutritionist, which aren't doctors, by the way, that's not what you're going to be as a doctor. It's going to be in these 2 sections, and it's usually a semester, maybe 2, which is what, a year of nutritional knowledge and training. And quite frankly, you're not going to really get the cutting edge stuff. A lot of the times, you're not, okay, let me put it this way. If you go up to a physician right now and you talk to them about macro dieting and nutrient partitioning for athletes, they're not going to really be too familiar with that material. Why? Because this is something that's come up recently and people are starting to really dig into it now, but it's not something that they're going to default to because they weren't originally brought up with that training, and it's not something they're going to know about because it's not super mainstream yet. It's going to take a long time for these guys like Aaron Aragon and all of these other people that are really hitting the nutrition piece of this to really get mainstream with it. Besides, it also that's another topic altogether, which I won't get into now. But for the most part, this is people they're training, and so keep in mind that if they are doing any sort of nutrient training or diet training, it's going to be here. And quite frankly, they're more focused about this anyways. And so you get into a weird catch-22. Hold on, I'm going to switch the camera on. So this is it, ladies and gentlemen. So when you're talking about a physician like Dr. Oz, and I'm only using him as an example because he's where he's at currently, that doesn't have really a huge background in nutrient or in dieting or any of that stuff. When a guy like that is recommending this one berry from the rainforest that has all these properties, that does all of these things, and he's pushing it to the mainstream because he has maybe contracts with companies who do push this product, it's definitely unethical in my opinion. Whether he's doing this, I don't know. I haven't really been keeping up with Dr. Oz. All I know is that I saw his show a couple times and I didn't agree with a lot of the things he was saying. And I feel like he was appealing to the masses as far as what to do for weight loss and what to do for health benefits and whatever else that he was pushing at the time. And I don't agree with a lot of that. And as you guys know from a lot, if you guys follow true scientists of nutrition, we're talking about like the Alan Aragons, all these guys that sit down and really test real parameters of nutrient partitioning and of really the effects of diet, and combined with sedentary lifestyles and training, it's a big difference as to what Dr. Oz was pushing and what this guy's doing. And my point of this video really is to give you guys an idea of their background, an idea of what a typical physician here in the US does, so that when you are going to a physician, you have an educated background as to what these people do as far as training and what you need to do as far as for your benefits. You need to ask questions. You need to ask questions about everything and challenge them and ask them why they want to go that route. Because as we've seen in the fitness community and in the fitness world, if there is a reason for someone to make profit off of, get notoriety, or just have an ego boost from, there's always going to be somebody that either cheats the system or tries to get something out of the system to benefit. So, quick video. I just wanted to really use the whiteboard, and wanted to give you guys a little bit of education as to these people's histories. Now, whether I agree with everyone's topics, I don't know. I mean, I agree with some of the stuff that Brandon said about Dr. Oz and his situation. I think we're in the same camp as far as watching his show and seeing that there was a lot of things being pushed. At least towards the very end, the last episode I saw years ago, he seemed very pushy about what he was trying to do. Jerry made a good point about these guys trying to get everything out of, as far as making money on everything because they have bills, and he has a very good point. I mean, these guys probably have huge, extensive loans to get their education. But at the same time, do I feel like all these people are always trying to screw you over? No. I've met and I've seen a lot of really good doctors that know what they're doing, that really give a shit about the patient. And I've also met a lot of people that just really seem like they're just doing it for the ego. You know, I've met a lot of people, let me rephrase that. I've met a lot of people that like being doctors because they're doctors and not because of what they're doing for their patients or their populace. So there's everything. There's everything and anything. And this is the last item of food for thought that I'll leave you guys with, even though that sounds like shit. Okay, medical school, 4 years I mentioned before. Just like there are people out there that graduate in honors, top of their class, there are people out there that barely graduate. And at the end of the day, when those people get their licenses, they're all doctors. So do yourself a favor, ask questions, argue things, ask for different options, because that's going to be the best thing you could do for your own health and health care. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I got to go do a squat session, max effort. See you guys next time.